I'm going to have to jump off early. I got a doctor's appointment at 8:45 in Squim, so.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. This is Colleen Mackler. Thanks for joining us. We have a special morning this morning with our 3 executive directors of our chambers. Really glad to have them here. We've got Marc Abshire with the Port Angeles Regional Chamber of Commerce, Lissy Andros with the Forks Chamber of Commerce, and Anji Scalf with the Squim Chamber of Commerce. So thanks, guys. They'll talk for about 10 to 15 minutes each, and then we'll have an opportunity for you to ask questions, and then go ahead and put your name in the chat or your question, and we'll call on you to ask it. And then at the end, we'll just, have some more opportunity for open conversation. So thanks, everyone. And Marc, take it away.
Sure. Thanks, Colleen. I'll try not to drone on too much, but I want to start out by just recognizing you for getting us all together and on this forum, and for doing this forum every week. The rest of us do these as well, and we know the drill, and it's a lot of work, and appreciate you providing this forum for across the county. I also want to just recognize the county of Clallam County residents and businesses for doing such a great job. That Clallam County is probably one of the best counties in the nation in terms of COVID control, and together with Jefferson County, we are probably in the top 10. I haven't seen the list of the 3,300 or some counties in the nation, but I'm sure that we are in the top 10 in the nation, and in the state by far. We're the 1 and 2. So we're doing really well out here. And the reason why that's important for this forum is the fact that we're doing well means or should mean that we can reopen a little bit sooner. We also lose less of our loved ones, and we don't get as sick. So kudos to Clallam County for, and all of us who live here for really getting our act together. And I think just the fact that Colleen and Lissy and Angie and I work closely together, I think is indicative of kind of how things are going in Clallam County right now. And that comes all the way down to practical things like, having probably one of the best vaccination programs in the state as well. So, I mean, we just, across the board, I'm really proud to be a part of Clallam County, and so I've taken up too many minutes on that and not talking about the chamber so much, but I just wanted to say those words because I think it's really important to recognize, some of the great work that's going on by really everyone. So a little bit on the Port Angeles Chamber of Commerce. We are, like everyone else, slogging through, and the state of the economy in the Port Angeles area is actually, I think, doing relatively well, considering the economic impact of the virus. I know that our sister chamber across the straits in Victoria, the Victoria Chamber, Victoria is actually really hurting badly. I mean, very, very badly. So the beautiful downtown Victoria that we all know or used to know, as soon as that ferry starts going again, we're going to go over there and find out that a lot of those businesses did not make it through this period of time. That is not the same for Port Angeles, where really most of our businesses are doing very well, or not very well. They're surviving, we put it that way. Some are doing very well, actually, and some have pivoted. I know that a lot of retail shops have taken this time to start online programs and try to increase their sales through online sales, which has really helped a lot of them out. In fact, a couple of them told me that they had a better fourth quarter in 2020 than they've ever had any quarter. So they're some of them did really well this last year. The restaurants are surviving. They've in Port Angeles, we haven't had many break out into the streets or, create outdoor eating areas for a variety of reasons. I know they've done that extensively or more extensively than Squim, but here only a handful have done that. And most of them have done pretty well with their takeout and curbside delivery and delivery services and that sort of thing. So we're all trying to support them as much as we can. And so, generally speaking, that we've been hit, but we're not doing that badly. Actually, we're doing pretty well in the Port Angeles area, especially. So a lot of that, is I think just the support of the community. Everybody trying to do as much shopping locally as we can. And this group, Colleen, Lissy, Angie, and I helped establish that Choose Clallam First, website in this last year, and I think that really got everybody focused on what's really important during this time, and I think it worked pretty well. Retail shops like Swain's and even our Heart Nagels and places like that actually have done pretty well through this period. I think mainly because people are staying home and shopping local. So that's going really well. The chamber has been, busy as always. We just we just added on 4 new board members for 2021, and really only lost 1 board member, and that's Jim Hagwood, who's been on our board for about 5 years now, so in various roles. So Jim's no longer on the board, but he's still supporting us on a project that we started last year called Elevate Port Angeles 2026. And that's a really important project that we've undertaken on behalf of the city of Port Angeles to envision a new future for the downtown business district in Port Angeles. And that effort started in September and it ends by August of this year. And it's in 3 phases. Foundational, which was September through December, and then we're in the visioning phase right now, and it ends with actually creating a 5-year strategic plan in the final phase that will implement the vision that we're creating right now. And that vision is being created by reaching out to business owners and property owners in the downtown district on what they would like to see for the future of the downtown, and then also to the rest of the community. So there'll be a lot of opportunities for folks in our area to influence, what future we'd like to see for the downtown. So Jim's been helping us with that, and you'll see a lot more probably on Elevate Port Angeles 2026 as we go through the next couple of months. But that's a pretty big effort. As you know, the Port Angeles Chamber produces the Winter Ice Village every year, at least we have the last couple of years. And this year we weren't able to do that. We had to postpone it, and we postponed it to the last day of winter, actually. We're planning or hoping to open it on March 19th, the last day of winter. So it's still going to be the Winter Ice Village. And it's going to run for about a month through spring break. So we're currently planning on doing that. That's a economic boost to the downtown district. It was one of the main reasons we started it. And it turns out to be actually just a great community development project, because I think it brings a lot of people together in an outdoor setting. And that's why I think we'll be able to do it, because it's outside, and working with the health department on that. The health department was going to let us, they had approved for us to open in December, but that was in early November. And so as we went through November, that's when we shut down even further near the middle of November. And that's why we had to postpone it, basically. It just didn't seem right to open it at that time. But we have heard from the cruise ship companies that come here to our dock in the summers. They are planning on sailing. And so we're coordinating with them. I'm predicting that they won't be able to fill a ship enough to sail until probably June. They normally start showing up in April, but I think it probably won't be till about June that they'll be able to actually start doing their sailings, and so we'll see the cruise ships here. I'm nearly positive sometime this summer. Similarly, the border between the United States and Canada has, affected the Blackball Ferry here, and I've been talking to the Victoria Chamber of Commerce, who has their finger on the pulse, really, of what the Canadian perspective is on this, and what they're telling me now is that with the apparent, I guess what's the right way to say this, the more efficiency that we can distribute our vaccines, the better the chances we'll be able to open the border. And as a betting man, I'm looking at, I think that there'll be discussions starting out in the next couple of months to reopen the U.S.-Canadian border, and I predict it's going to be a slow reopening of that border. So you'll be able to sail on the Coho ferry if they run, if you can show paperwork of any kind. So that'll be the beginning, I believe, and then eventually it'll open up to everyone. But we'll see what happens. But we're really hoping that the Blackball ferry gets to start running again by the 1st of June, or at the very latest, the 1st of July. We also are in the middle of celebrating our annual community awards program. This is a program we started a few years ago, and to recognize organizations and individuals in the Port Angeles area for the past year. And just so you know, I'm going to put a shameless plug in. Our big event is this Saturday night at 7:00, and we hope that all of you can join us to celebrate some of the great organizations and individuals who did great things in 2020. Some of our honorees include the Clallam County EDC, by the way. So congratulations, Colleen, on being chosen as a finalist for that. I'm trying to think of some others. I'm sorry, but
Colleen Robinson.
What's that?
Habitat.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Habitat for Humanity, which under the leadership of Colleen Robinson is a perennial honoree of the community, because they do so many great things for us. Anyway, that's Saturday night. It's a great show. You're gonna love it. It's entertaining. It's not long. So if you're not doing anything Saturday night about 7:00, just go to our chamber website, portangeles.org, and there'll be a link there where you can join it and view it. Should be a lot of fun. So anyway, we're doing that. And then the other thing we're working on is we're trying to figure out which events we'll be able to reinvigorate this year, right? So I know, like in Squim, they're working on the sun, I can't remember the name of it, but Angie's going to tell you about it. But I think that's awesome that they're working on that. We had planned to reintroduce Jazz in the Olympics this year in April, but we have decided it's a little too early to do that. That's an indoor setting in most cases, and it's just too early to organize something like that. So we're not doing that one. But the first event that we think we're going to be able to pull off is the Maritime Festival, the second week of June. And there's some pretty exciting things that are already starting to coalesce around that weekend, like a paddleboard race from Freshwater Bay to Hollywood Beach. There's a group that's organizing a thing they're calling the Wanda Fuca, W-A-N-D-A, Wanda Fuca Downwinder. And they claim they have hundreds of people who are going to be wanting to participate that from around the region. There's also a group that's of yacht owners who are going to be coming up from Ilwaco, I guess, to Port Angeles on a cruise they do every year. They do it every year, but they go to Victoria. So instead of going to Victoria, they're going to come to Port Angeles, and it'll be that Maritime Festival weekend. So there should be a lot going on. We're working on seaplane docks at City Pier, and because of that, we talk a lot to the Washington Seaplane Pilots Association, and they're also planning on a fly-in for the Maritime Festival weekend. So that's going to be our first big weekend that we're shooting for. Everything's outdoors, and we're just kind of getting started, getting that organized. So that's happening. We're hoping to be able to celebrate the 4th of July again this year, and pretty much all the events that we have, will be after the summer, I think are going to go just as normal. That's what it looks like. So yes, we'll do the Winter Ice Village again in the winter, probably opening up again in November of 2021, in addition to the one we're doing over spring break this spring. Let's see, anything else? I mentioned the 5-year strategic plan for the downtown. There's a bunch of programs that we're going to try to implement this year. So it's really just a matter of just getting all that organized, and we're just busy. So, I mean, I could go on and on, but I'm going to just stop the droning at this time, and I'll take questions, or maybe you want to go on to Lissy next, Colleen. You're on mute, Colleen.
I'm a real pro at this, aren't I? So yeah, does anyone want to ask Marc anything further? I know, so primarily would you say, I mean, my expectation would be that it's the restaurants and the fitness centers that are the hardest hit, or is there also another category of businesses, just general retail stores, or how would you characterize that, Marc?
Yeah, so, there's just been a downturn in general on retail, unless you're sort of an essential retail business like Swain's or Hart & Nagels.
Mm-hmm.
And then the restaurants are, our area is used to being agile. Our business owners are really good at dealing with downturns and like they're really good at being flexible and that sort of thing. So, but yes, I would say that generally speaking, the hospitality side of things has taken a bit of a hit. But our hotels, are doing better than we feared that they would. There's actually a lot of people coming out to Jefferson and Clallam County from other parts of the state, and I actually think that we're going to have a really busy summer. I think that a lot of people are not going to be traveling to places they otherwise would go, like out of the country. Instead, we think there's going to be a lot of staycation folks, and I think Marsh is on this call. She's, I know, been noodling on this for quite a while, but we do see we think there's going to be a lot of people that are staying local for their vacations of sorts. So we actually are anticipating a pretty busy summer, here.
That makes sense. When you look at that state map for, number of cases, our corner is real, so many places else are real red, and ours is yellow in our corner. So it's a beautiful spot, and they probably don't want to get on planes. So yeah, that is so. All right, thanks, Marc. Let's see, we've got a couple things, no specific questions there in the chat, but on that note, Lissy, you want to take it and start off? Yeah, I'm really curious from the hotel perspective and kind of what you saw over the summer from visitors coming in, and how did that affect the economy in the Forks and out west? And then what are you guys anticipating this summer?
Thanks, Colleen. Forks was probably an anomaly. I would say, due to our proximity to the beach. I feel like everybody during the pandemic wanted to get to the beach as quickly as possible for peace of mind and their calming of their soul. So Forks was incredibly busy over the summer. We did many nights of total sellouts with our hotels. Our visitor numbers here at the Visitor Center were incredible. Even the last quarter of 2020, we had over 4,000 people at our Visitor Center. So Forks was very fortunate in the tourism aspect during the pandemic. Many of my businesses reported having better days than they've had the whole time they've been open as far as sales go. So I think that, we were pretty lucky in that aspect of things. I project just like Mark, I think that this coming travel season is going to be pretty incredible. People do not want to stay home, and they don't have to stay home anymore because they're not tethered to their offices. So they are able to come and visit, places they've never been before, or places that make them feel better and so forth. So I think that it's a pretty good outlook for Forks for 2021. So pretty excited about it. But I want to talk a little bit about the Forks Chamber, because I know that we do have some chamber members on this meeting, but we also have people who may not be familiar with the Forks Chamber. So the Forks Chamber represents the area of Forks west of Lake Crescent. We represent Clallam Bay, CQ, Nia Bay, all the way down to West Jefferson County, all the way down to the Clearwater. So we have a pretty broad range of chamber members and areas that we promote. We have a budget of about $467,000. So we have a very good budget for 2021. And we have about 260 chamber members, which I'm very proud of. We have chamber members also that are even out of the country. So we represent more than just Forks, but for the most part, we do represent the businesses, but we do have a lot of individual members that want to support the area and do that support through chamber membership. In 2019, we started a program called the Lodging Concierge Service. And this was a program that we started because what we noticed was people would get into Forks and think that nobody had heard of Forks before, that they were the only ones who'd ever heard of this town, and they're going to go to this town, spend the weekend. And inevitably it was with 3 kids, 4 dogs, people who are spontaneous travelers, really are a risky bunch just for lodging, because they may not always get lodging. So what we did was we started a lodging concierge service in 2019, to where we took a cell phone home with us and had that cell phone on till 9 o'clock. And my staff was so amazing. Sometimes they would just leave it on in case anybody after 9 o'clock called and needed help also. But we had a spreadsheet of all the lodging in the area. And if somebody called us and said, I can't find lodging, we would start looking down our spreadsheet and calling and find a spot for them. And it was really successful. And we were really excited for 2020. We did not really do our lodging service in 2020 because we didn't have the staff to do it. We were on a skeleton crew because of the pandemic. And so we're really excited to start that back in 2021. And any lodging tax dollars that we can keep in our community is better for the city of Forks, and it's better for Clallam County, and it's better for Jefferson County, because people who stay here spend here, and people who stay here and get friendly service are more likely to come back. Forks was pretty fortunate also in 2020 because Stephanie Meyer, who is the author of the Twilight Saga, released a book in 2020, and it was Twilight from Edward's perspective. And that gave us a lot of free publicity. We were really excited about the book coming out. We exploded on TikTok, which could be good, could be bad, depending on how you look at it. But for our visitor packets in October, over one weekend, we got over 2,000 requests for visitor packets because of a TikTok post. And so because of social media, we did have to revise how we send out visitor packets. So, we don't have the budget to send out thousands of visitor packets to people who maybe just want a souvenir of the Forks area. So we came up with a plan. Now people purchase a visitor packet, but they also get a coupon in the mail to offset that total cost for when they arrive in Forks. That way, if you're just buying it for a souvenir, we can recoup some of those costs that it takes to send those packets out. And that's been well received. So one of the big projects that the chamber works on every year is the Forever Twilight and Forks collection and our annual festival. The collection was hit really hard this year because of the governor's mandates. And we reopened the Friday of Labor Day weekend. And that Saturday of Labor Day weekend, we had about 200 people come through the collection in the 4 hours we were open. And which created quite a stir because it was like the most happening thing in Forks. So there was like a line and so forth. So we said, okay, well, we can't have that anymore. So we had to regroup and find a new way to get people into the collection without having any types of gatherings. So we really had to pivot quite a bit, but it's been good. It's all been a learning experience, and I think it makes us stronger. The festival, which was a virtual event in 2020, created some new fans, people who were not able to come here in the past. We also had fans from all over the world who participated. We had a young gal who was taking part in our trivia test. We did like a Zoom trivia test with help from Allegra from the Visitor Bureau. She managed our breakout rooms. And so we broke out into rooms, did a trivia test. And then this one young lady, she was in Singapore, and she said she had to sit in the closet because it was 3 o'clock in the morning. So she didn't want her family to be woken up. So, but we had people from all over the world take part in that. We gave attendees the option to roll their tickets over to 2021 or get refunds. And about half rolled them over, half took refunds. And so we had all the refunds processed within 3 weeks, which we were really proud of. And then so far for our festival in 2021, we've sold about 2/3 of our tickets. So we're really looking forward to a great event this year. Because it's in September, we're really hoping that we'll be able to have it in person with a lot of modifications, of course. But you know, we're just really excited that people want to come regardless. And it's funny because in September, when we were supposed to have the event, we were actually really fortunate that we could not have it because it was that weekend that we had that hazardous air quality, and it would have been a disaster for our event that weekend. So, you know, there was a silver lining to that cloud at least, and another thing for us to put in our contingency list. Back to the collection, you know, we are so fortunate because in the festival, we have really good partnership with the city of Forks. And so we could not make the collection or the festival work without our partnership with the city. From everything from, you know, lodging tax support to volunteers, the city steps up and, you know, members of the city staff volunteer for our events. So we're very appreciative to the city of Forks for all of their partnerships. So just for the collection, you know, we opened in May of 2017, and we've had over 34,000 people come into the collection so far, and it is a free gallery in downtown Forks. And we also, in addition to our regular hours, we do after hours private tours. So myself, I've been the chamber director since 2012. And I sit on numerous boards. And one of the boards that I sit on and I'm the president of is the Association of Visitor Information Centers of Washington. So that's a really informative group that has a conference once a year, and the visitor center staff and managers get together and talk about, you know, the challenges of visitor centers, what they can do to improve, you know, really a great networking opportunity. So in 2020, I just want to say that, you know, because Forks is so resilient and our businesses are used to adversity, our businesses fared pretty well in Forks. We had, I don't know that we lost any businesses. We did have some new businesses open up in 2020. We had one business that did burn down in 2020, which was our Rusty Gate Rusty Gate Nursery and Building Supply. They lost their building, but they did regroup very quickly and get a portable building for when they're rebuilding. So we're very happy we did not lose that business after that fire. The grants that the businesses received, the lifeboat grants and the Working Washington grants, were so helpful. And I think that that's one of the reasons that we did not lose any businesses. One of the businesses, I just saw a Facebook post for our dollar store, Forks Dollar Plus, they've added refrigeration. So now that they can sell limited groceries. So I think that's great. We have Forks Outfitters, but now we have a secondary grocery store, which is nice. Of course, our restaurants, we have one restaurant that has been closed for, I want to say, going on 6 weeks now. And so we hope that they can reopen very soon. Most of our restaurants are doing takeout. Some of our restaurants, I think, have adapted really well. We have a new place in Forks called the West End Tap Room Tip and Sip, and it's very popular. And when they were hit with the mandates from the governor's office, they really went into action very quickly. They built a permanent outdoor patio. So I think that even when this is over, I think that's going to be a great addition to Forks because, in the summertime, Forks is gorgeous. We have, daylight till like 10 o'clock at night and people want to be outside. So I think that's going to be a really nice feature for the West End Tap Room. I just looked out my window a second ago and there's a ton of elk outside. So, that's the opposite of what it is now. Looking forward to the summer, but the rain and the elk is not a bad thing either. Our bowling alley was hit really hard and our fitness center, we have a gym with a pool. So those businesses were closed for quite a bit. Like the Forever Twilight and Forks collection, the bowling alley, of course, can open to private tours, but it's very hard on businesses to do that because it's cost prohibitive to open your whole business for just a few people. We were hit with a really bad news about winter steelhead fishing. So that's been something that's going to really impact the Olympic Peninsula. We had a man contact us the other day and he says he spends an average of $4,000 every winter coming down to fish for winter steelhead. And the Olympic Peninsula is going to lose his business because they will not allow you to fish from a boat. So that's going to be very hard on our lodging businesses, our gas stations, our grocery store, and of course our fishing guides. So hopefully by next year that rule may be reversed, we're hoping. But the fishing guides are really working hard to get that rule reversed. Our Forks High School has been incredible. They have been open to in-person learning since September. And so they've been a really great example for how to do things right. And so we're really proud of the Forks school system. Our vaccination clinic was amazing. The first day was kind of, had some issues because it was the first day, but after that, it was running very smoothly, a ton of community participation, everything from the Coast Guard, the fire department, the police department, the city, the hospital, and more. So we're really proud that we were able to bring that together in a really short amount of time. One of the projects that I'll be working on for 2021 is I'm hoping to get a grant to purchase new light pole banners and new garbage cans to beautify Main Street. I want to get new light pole banners because some of our events do not happen anymore and our current banners advertise events that are not happening. And then with our events maybe not happening in 2021, we just need to have some more options to advertise the area. We're looking forward to a new activity at the Hoh Rainforest. Peninsula Adventure Sports is putting on 3 gravel unravel bike races. And one of those is going to be called the Holy Roller. And that's going to be at the Hoh Rainforest on May 1st, I believe, around May 1st. So we're excited to promote that and see, where that leads. And, people who are in these extreme adventure sports, they will really travel anywhere to enjoy these sports. So we're excited that they're going to be coming out here. There's also going to be one near the Solduck and one over in Quilcene, I believe. And then let's see, coming up today at noon, we have our our State of the City address. That's when our mayor and the city staff tell us everything that they've done in 2020 and what they're looking forward to in 2021. So if you have a chance to join us, if you need the link, you can, I can put the link in the chat. And then just like Port Angeles, we do honor our best of. And so we'll be honoring our best of on February 10th. And we normally do that, of course, at a luncheon. So we're not really sure how we're going to do that, if it's going to be over Zoom, most likely. We were hoping everything would be lifted, but I don't see that happening in the next couple of weeks. But the best of honors the citizen, volunteer, and business of the year. And then we give out what's called the Inez Halverson Award, the Halvey. And that's for like a community organization that has gone above and beyond for the year. So anyway, that's kind of what we're up to here in Forks. You know, just trying to manage the rain. You know, we're trying to get all 10 feet in January. So I don't know what's going on with that. But anyway, but we appreciate the support that we get from the EDC. You know, we appreciate our partnerships with the other chambers. You know, I feel like I can pick up the phone and call Mark or Angie at any time. So I think that through all of our boards that we share and working together, I think it really makes a strong Olympic Peninsula. So I'm really proud to be connected to, you know, these other organizations.
Thanks so much, Lissy. Yeah, you guys all are doing a fantastic job trying to help your business. And something I didn't realize before, you know, I started at the EDC role, certainly, was actually you guys pretty much have business lines that you guys operate. And so that's really impressive. It's just not helping other businesses. You guys have projects that are mini businesses in and of themselves. And you might argue that they're not mini from your perspective, but yeah, thanks so much. And if anybody has questions for Lissy, we can get those towards the end. So Angie, what's happening in Squim at the Squim Chamber and Visitors Center? Go ahead, take it away.
Big sigh. What is happening in Squim? That is the age-old question. I don't have an answer entirely for that. Our businesses are in the same situation as in Port Angeles and in Forks. Some are doing extraordinarily well. I think the whole world now appreciates lavender a lot more than before, which good for Squim. We have, you know, impact to our restaurants and lodging, but there is that kind of balance between things being closed down, but then more people coming out our way than typical in this shoulder season. The chamber has lost our revenue from events, but we've been able to replace that with a lot of grants. So thank you to the EDC for helping us with that. There have been a lot of different organizations that have helped us keep ourselves afloat. There's a lot of political stuff happening in Squim, unfortunately. And if you want to know more of that, just read the paper. Unfortunately, we're getting a lot of phone calls from concerned citizens saying that they don't want to shop in Squim anymore because of what's going on. And that just breaks my heart because I don't think businesses should be punished for what's happening that's outside of their control. So that's rough, to say the least. We've replaced a lot of the work that we do in tourism because we're kind of just in sustain mode with tourism by really digging deep into our partners that work in advocacy. So that's the Association of Washington Businesses. They also have a grassroots alliance that is advocating for businesses at the state level. I now work more closely with the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, which is typically much more of a big corporation chamber, but they're starting to see the deep value of our small businesses and advocating at the federal level. And of course, our partners with the North Olympic Legislative Alliance. Thank you, Colleen, for making us a part of that. That's been really valuable to get all of the organizations on the peninsula aligned in our values and our advocacy. We had our first luncheon of the year yesterday. We had put that on hold just because the technology hurdle was high for a lot of our members. They've had time to learn Zoom, and we made sure to develop a program that's not just another Zoom call, because we all have way too many of those. And we got a lot of good feedback yesterday. The superintendent of state schools, Chris Reichdahl, came to talk about what's going on in the schools and how there's a really big link between commerce and strong education programs. So that is archived and on our YouTube. So you can go to our social media and watch that if you're interested. And we do our luncheons the 4th Tuesday of every month, hopefully in person soon. Projects we have going forward, Marc alluded to our Sunshine Festival, which was a brand new festival that kicked off right as COVID started. We won't be having a drone show this year just because we don't want people to gather. And that was so cool that people would gather. There's no way to keep people socially distanced during a drone show, but it will be returning as soon as we are able. We're doing a color run, which is super fun. Victoria Jones is the race director for that, and she does a lot on the peninsula for runs, and she runs a great event. It's socially distanced, so everybody's staggered their start, and getting outside and being bright and full of color is something that I think we all need a little bit right now. So I encourage you all to consider doing that run. We'll also be doing a socially distanced scavenger hunt across downtown and a few other little events with lights, because we all need more light this time of year. The Irrigation Festival is happening in its regular weekend. They delayed it last year because they wanted to be able to do it in person, and we all learned that last year was a wash. But they did a great online festival in October last year and are going to improve upon that this May, so that's exciting. That'll be the 126th one, so the longest running festival in the state through two pandemics, which is pretty impressive. And then we've delayed our Citizen of the Year event to summer. Just like Marc was saying, events happening most likely in June, just because we wanted to make sure that that the Citizen of the Year got the full mantle of that award. It's possible to do it virtually, but I think it would be really hard for the generation that is usually recognized. All the past Citizens of the Year tend to be in the older category, so we wanted to make sure that we did something really special for them. So that's to come. And yeah, I mean, our focus has been to keep things together, share information. We forward people to Choose Clallam First every day. It's a great resource with all of the grants information, the direction for how businesses can cope with what's going on, and just keeping those services together while we wait to be able to reopen. So that's what I've got going on. There's a lot going on that I haven't touched on, but my door is always open, and like Lissy said, we can always call each other, so feel free to give me a ring if you have a question. And that's it.
Great. Obviously very, very busy in Squim as well. So one question I had for each of you, have you guys been tracking how many businesses have closed that had, storefronts or whatever information you have there in your communities?
I don't have a formal tracking mechanism, but anecdotally, I know of 2 businesses that have closed. One was a restaurant and the other was a retail shop. So those are the ones I know about in Port Angeles.
And in Forks, we had we lost one retail business, but it was more of a retiring, going out of business because they retired. And then one of our restaurants has not reopened since the shutdown in March. And we're hoping that they do reopen when they can reopen again. And I just want to make a comment that, we're really fortunate here on the Olympic Peninsula because our visitor centers were allowed to be open to whatever degree that is, because as part of my Association of Visitor Information Centers of Washington, board information, a lot of visitor centers are owned by municipalities. and the municipalities haven't reopened. So therefore the visitor centers haven't reopened. So we're very fortunate here that, and I'm glad that we didn't have to stay closed. So.
Mhm. And Angie?
Yeah, that's the one thing. During the height of the political season, I heard candidates bandying around, this many businesses have closed in Squim. And there have been a number of businesses that have closed in the last year, but just like Lissy said, many of them are because of a retirement. It was already planned to close, or they've shifted their business. I can only think of less than a handful that have closed because of COVID. But there are a few on Main Street. There's a few open spaces that kind of hurt our hearts, but something will be reborn out of those spaces. So I'd say I know personally of 3 businesses that have closed because of COVID, and there were things before COVID. It was just that COVID was the final straw.
Mhm.
Can I ask a question?
Absolutely, please.
Mark and Angie and Lissy, have any of the business owners who are considering closing because of retirement, have any of them considered selling to their employees, creating a worker cooperative or anything like that?
The one business that closed in Forks, I can't say that she would not have been open to that, but I don't think that was a possibility at the time. And
Oh, I
so
see.
she closed, and then she's already sold her building and something else is moving in. So.
Oh, okay, good.
And the businesses that have closed in Port Angeles were kind of sole proprietor in a way. So the retail shop she didn't really have many employees. And so really nobody to pass that on to. And the same with the restaurant. It was actually kind of low staffed at the point. And they were struggling prior to COVID. So yeah, I think that was kind of like the last straw for that. But I can say that there have been some businesses that have been purchased and sold during this time. Some really not so small businesses actually that have been purchased, and the overall investment that's going on in the downtown of Port Angeles continues. So there really is. I guess I'm not trying to convey a message here, but it's actually true that there's a lot of really positive things that you can focus on in our area, and that includes investment that continues through the pandemic. It started before the pandemic, and it really maybe took a little bit of a pause, but I'm really bullish on the other side of this virus impact. I mean, I really think we're going to take off. There's a long list, really, and things that have, like the Boys and Girls Club in Port Angeles being completed is just an amazing facility. It's beautiful. The Shore Aquatic Center, completed during this time. The continuing of the Field Arts and Events Hall, and then all the other projects that are underway are not being canceled. They may have been delayed a little bit, but it's looking really positive from our perspective.
Great. That's great. I love it.
Yeah, I would
Angie?
echo that. Yeah, I would echo that. A lot of times we do work with the SBDC. They do a great job of helping businesses figure out a succession plan, and try to encourage people to find solutions there. A lot of times either the business or the building is sold, or it's a labor of love, and perhaps there's a niche that doesn't really fit elsewhere in the business community, and that's why we see some businesses close. But I also have to say our restaurants out here are badass. It is a tough industry to work in to start, and then to be able to tailor your offerings with seasonal tourism peaks and ebbs, and then to endure this pandemic. I mean, we're doing really well. As I know they're working super hard and they're struggling and they're on the edge, but they're doing an excellent job. So I'm really proud of the restaurant industry, particularly out here.
Yeah, I'd like to reiterate what Angie said about the SBDC, which is Mike Rykoff, he's on, and we regularly communicate with him and let him know, and then also when there's an issue and we refer to him. He's the free resource that our locally our governments help fund, and also from the SBA. And then also we have the Center of Inclusive Entrepreneurship, which is Micah Jonette and Rick Dickinson. They're both on, and they offer free business advising services as well. So, and like right now, I know the UPS franchise store is for sale is available in Port Angeles. And so, we try to get our information out there so that people know that these things are available. And if any one of us comes in contact with someone who's entrepreneurial and looking to expand, we, share that and see if there's a potential fit so that we keep our businesses and our services continuing throughout the community.
I would
Thank
just
you.
add on that too, the NODC now has a staff member devoted to helping businesses develop their e-commerce and web presence, which is super valuable, as well as farmers. So we've got an incredible network of support
Wow.
between all of us.
Yeah, thanks, Angie. I forgot to mention that earlier. I was wondering if, and so specifically, there's a lot of marketing groups that offer that kind of service, but at the NODC, the e-commerce business specialist helps businesses that can't afford to work with, say, an inside out marketing or something like that. And so they have this as a resource. They also have to show that they've been impacted by COVID-19, which anyone who's selling something online would be. So, but it's for those really small businesses that have been impacted. Well, I know Marcia is on, and so I would love Marcia just to take a moment, if she can, and talk about the work that she has been doing, the fall marketing campaign that the North Olympic Peninsula Visitors Bureau has been doing. Go ahead, Marcia. Thanks.
Hey, Colleen, thank you so much. This was a great program, and I'm so appreciative of the work that the chambers are doing. I will just real quickly mention that the Olympic Peninsula Tourism Commission, which is both Clallam and Jefferson counties, cities of Port Angelus, Port Townsend, Squim, et cetera, collaborated this fall in a fall marketing campaign aimed at bringing visitors back as they could, and really promoting the area as a good area to get away in the fall. We walk a fine line between saying, hey, come on out, and come on out when it's safe. But we worked with Blackball Marketing for our fall campaign, and it was targeted around the message that you can't get any more northwest than the Olympic Peninsula. We worked on multiple platforms, social media and digital advertising. We did some television advertising for the first time. We had large bus ads in Seattle. So think of roving billboards, if you will, in the Seattle, Portland, and South Puget Sound markets. And the campaign ran roughly October through December. But Forks, Port Angeles, Squim, and the county all participated with some great visuals. And we're going to give a full report next week at our Olympic Peninsula Tourism Commission meeting. But I will just tell you that combined out of all of that, out of all the different outreach we did, we had 42.5 million campaign impressions. That means potential eyeballs on one of those ads. About 3 million were on Google and Bing, so digital advertising. About 21.5 million impressions came from the bus ads, 16.5 million impressions across television. We worked with Como. We also had a very successful contest that drove about 11,000 people to a site to learn more about the Olympic Peninsula and register to win a trip. So there are a lot of other measurements that we have, but the impressions was huge. We saw significant upticks in website traffic, and we're really pleased to hear anecdotally that business for a lot of our communities was better in November, December than was anticipated. So we feel like the campaign was very successful. We are looking at a similar campaign in the spring. So just wanted to let you know what the Olympic Peninsula Visitor Bureau and Olympic Peninsula Tourism Commission are doing to try and encourage responsible visitors to come out when it's appropriate.
Well, wonderful. I think to me, what I'm getting is a bottom line here is generally speaking, our businesses are pretty darn well supported and they're hanging in there. And also that our chambers and the North Olympic Tourism Commission, they're very, very busy and doing some great work. So thank you for your partnership and everything you do to keep our communities chugging along and getting through this together. So thanks, everyone. All right, so that's all we've got here. It's 8:59, so it's pretty good timing. And enjoy your day, and we'll hopefully see you next week. I believe we've got our county commissioners on talking about the economy and sales tax for what happened, what information they have going through this pandemic. So thank you, everyone.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Colleen. Bye.
Thank you.